In 1999, a couple of weeks before a solar eclipse in Leo, a king named Hassan II of Morocco dropped dead. Under the Leo eclipse in 1981, President Sadat of Egypt was gunned down at a parade live on television. And in 1998, under another one, President Bill Clinton went on national television and admitted he'd lied to the whole country about his affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky. Every time the sun goes dark in the sign of Leo, the sign of kings, somebody on a throne falls. And on August 12th, it happens again, right on top of Donald Trump's chart. All right, y'all, welcome back. On August 12, 2026, this total solar eclipse lands at 20 degrees of Leo. And Leo is the sun's home sign. So we're talking royalty, the bigwigs, the head honchos, the person who has to be the main character in every room they walk into. So when the moon slides through and blocks out the sun in a fire sign like this, the ancient astrologers had a phrase for it. They said, the king finna die. Okay, maybe not those exact words, but stay with me. We're going to talk about who's about to get humbled, who's throwing hands, and who's left to hold it down when the dust settles. But it's not all doom and gloom, I promise. There's a real light at the end of this bad boy, and I want you to carry it forward into the world, babe. And real quick, if you've got any planets at the middle degrees of Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio, this one's got your name on it. Stay till the end and I'll show you what to look at. Now, let's get into 2026, starting with the vibe of this exact degree. Every degree of the zodiac has what's called a Sabian symbol, which is basically a little snapshot that sums up the energy of that exact spot. And the snapshot for this eclipse degree is intoxicated chickens dizzily flapping their wings, trying to fly. And all I hear in my head is chicken, 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 chicken. Boy, please, whatever. So picture it. A bunch of drunk chickens, birds that were already not really built for flying, now fully convinced that they're about to take off, flapping all over the place, going absolutely nowhere. One bad decision away from hurting themselves. That is the energy the sun and moon are bringing into this eclipse. It's false courage, big confidence with zero runway, trying to do the absolute most way before you're ready, and then being shocked when it flops. Bird type shit. And the tarot backs it up because the card for this slice of Leo is the Seven of Wands, the fighter wearing the crown. On the surface, it's one person up on a hill swinging a stick while 6 other sticks come at him from below. Your boy is surrounded. He's defending his little hill and he's like, you want a piece of me? And the people below are like, hell yeah, we finna beat your ass. But take this card back to the Kabbalistic roots and it gets pretty on point. In the tarot, the sevens remind us that a crown is powerful, but heavy is the head that wears it. And everybody ain't got the neck strength, okay? Some of y'all's mama just let your little heads flop all around when you were a baby. And the old texts call this card a soldier's battle. The army is in total disorder. There's no strategy left. So the only way you win is through raw individual guts. Sidebar. Do y'all remember that TV show called Guts on Nickelodeon? I wanted to go on there so badly, but I wasn't especially athletic in my youth, so I was definitely floating on the Nile River because it would have been a mess. Anyway, back to the card. So the soldier's back is up against the wall. And one of the tarot texts says this card highlights the limits of pure Mars energy. Patriotism is not enough. There's also a Mercury, Pluto, and Vulcanus pileup in this chart, which means somebody's about to get run over, either with words or an actual vehicle. There's also a big hypnosis/propaganda influence there. Now let's talk about the kings. At the very end of Leo, there's a star called Regulus. It's one of the 4 royal stars, and its reputation is about power. Regulus hands you success, status, the crown, but it comes with a little caveat. You get to keep all of it, as long as you don't take revenge. The minute you go scorched earth on your enemies, Regulus snatches it all back like a bad wig on Real Housewives. You get the glory, the pride, and then a great fall. In that order. The crazy part about this eclipse is that the South Node is sitting on Regulus. And the South Node is the past, the thing you're supposed to let go of, the place where stuff drains away and gets lost. So you've got loss and the fall parked right on the Star of Kings. And this is where it gets specific. That same spot at the end of Leo, where Regulus and the South Node are, is sitting exactly on Donald Trump's ascendant at 29 degrees of Leo, right on the King star. That degree is one of the loudest things in his whole chart. And it's a big part of why this guy has spent his entire life trying to be a monarch. Regulus is the crown. This eclipse is here to find out if he can hold it. Spoiler alert, we already know he can't. This eclipse is coming at his chart from 4 different directions at the same time. The south node, the falling point, is on his ascendant. The eclipse itself lands on his Zeus, which highlights raw ambition and firepower. And the midheaven of the eclipse chart, which represents the moment for the United States, sits right on his Mars. So this is a violent moment for him. Angry, aggressive, all the Mars words. We'll see how it plays out. Back in the 9th century, there was an astrologer named Mashallah. He wrote that a solar eclipse in a fire sign signifies the death of kings and divisions among them, plus drought, barren earth, and famine. The rest of the fire eclipse tradition says similar stuff, like armies on the move, fires, fevers, and the death or imprisonment of powerful men. Sometimes this death lands literally, like the ones I mentioned in the introduction, but a lot of the time it's the figurative of fall from grace. Take Martin Shkreli. Weeks before the 2017 Leo eclipse, the pharma bro who hiked a life-saving drug more than 5,000% and smirked through the whole backlash got convicted of fraud and hauled off to the clink. The guy who thought he was untouchable, humbled right on time. And it's not just government leaders or CEOs. Leo corresponds to creativity, so these eclipses come for iconic entertainers too. Jerry Lewis died the day before the 2017 eclipse. Isaac Hayes and Bernie Mac, one of the kings of comedy, went within a day of each other under the one in 2008. When the sun goes dark in the sign of the performer, the greats take their final bow. Either way, the theme has held for over 1,000 years. The eclipse isn't even exact yet, and it's already unfolding. The Pacific Northwest is on fire as I record this. 65,000 people are out of their homes in Spokane, Washington. It's Oregon's worst fire season in 3 decades. So the higher-ups should be shaking in their boots. Now, let's talk about the other elephant in the room. Sitting at 0 degrees Cancer, right on the world axis. It's Mars. The same Mars we just met as patriotism in the tarot, and here he is again. We just spent about a year with Jupiter in Cancer, and Jupiter grows whatever it touches. Cancer is home, family, belonging, the food on the table, who counts as us. So, what did that year give us? Protectionism, protecting our money, our borders, our people, and let's be real, racism dressed up as safety. Jupiter left the neighborhood just in time for Mars to move on in. And Mars is bringing firepower. Right? It's like a gang just moved into the neighborhood. So all that mine energy we've been marinating in just got armed. And the thing that was simmering is about to come to blows. And Mars isn't coming alone. Ceres is there too. She showed up in the tarot card I mentioned. In an older version of the 7 of Wands, there is a hand reaching out of the cloud providing a wand, symbolizing the Great Mother stepping into the fight to protect. Here she is again on the world axis. So even though the soldier is fighting a lone battle, his mother has his back. Ceres is the mother, the harvest, the family you'd go to war for. On her good side, Mars with Ceres is real courage, protecting the people you love. On her bad side, it's competitiveness that won't quit. Fighting way past the point, you should have let it go. You see it in the food too, because Ceres has a correspondence with food. And Mars with Ceres can bring food itself under threat. In the United States, we've pulled lettuce off the shelves for a parasite outbreak that's claimed its first lives. There's another player in this chart too. Hygeia is the goddess of health and cleanliness, and she's literally where we get the word hygiene. She's wired right into this eclipse, and she's amped way up by Jupiter sitting next to her. Now, told y'all back at the Capricorn Ingress or the Aries Ingress, one of those videos, I said there would be issues with food, people getting sick, and the government lying about it. We here. Now, the women. The rising degree of the eclipse chart is 16 degrees Scorpio, which carries its own Sabian symbol, which reads, "A woman filled with her own spirit is the father of her own child." It's the symbol of total self-sufficiency, especially for women, raising yourself because nobody else did, and being the single parent, provider, and protector all in one, with nobody to hand any of it to. It's her versus everybody. And the shadow side of that is abandonment, custody battles, and feeling responsible for everything. So watch for a few things as this eclipse continues to play out over the next few years. More trouble with the food and water, recalls, outbreaks, contamination, and the people in charge telling you, it's fine. Flashpoints around borders and race and who counts as us, where protecting our own turns into somebody getting hurt. And whatever breaks, watch who gets stuck holding it. Because this chart says it's women, single mothers, most of all, the ones already doing it by themselves. Hope is on the way. I want to do a little look back to look forward. Come on, Sankofa. And why do we do this? because every eclipse belongs to a family called a Saros cycle that comes back around every 18 years or so. And that family carries a specific message that shows up every single time it runs. For this one, the message is about breaking out of a situation where you can't see any hope into a space that suddenly has more options than a Cheesecake Factory menu. So let's see if that holds up. Let's rewind to 1972. That summer, the USA finally pulled its last ground combat troops out of Vietnam and broke the stalemate in a decades-long, non-existent relationship with China. Fast forward to 1990, the entire Cold War was falling apart. The Berlin Wall had just come down, Germany stitching itself back together after 40-some years split down the middle. Finally, in 2008, the last time we experienced this cycle, a skinny kid with a funny name gets elected on a message of hope and change. And a country that had been dragging through war and a financial crash suddenly feels like it has options again. And I will say, I went to the inauguration in 2009, and it was probably one of the most beautiful collective experiences I have ever been a part of. I wish I could have bottled it up and sold it, because that feeling that we were breaking out of something stuck was intoxicating and ubiquitous. So hold on to that pattern and that feeling, because every time this eclipse comes back, something that felt frozen and hopeless busts it wide open like Megan Thee Stallion. A worry that's been sitting on your chest clears almost out of nowhere. The solution just shows up, and you're supposed to take that baton and run it across the finish line. So yes, the world is burning and leaders will fall. It's already happening right now in the astrological community, but we're not going to talk about that. But the deepest signature of this eclipse is a door swinging open in a room you thought was sealed shut for good. And remember, the South Node is what you put down. So the real question this eclipse is asking you personally is this: what throne have you handcuffed yourself to that was never yours to sit on, Aegon the usurper? Bring Aegon the usurper to me. The escape hatch to freedom is already open. You just have to stop swinging your stick long enough to walk through it. That's the assignment. Somebody powerful is going to take a major L under this eclipse, or some powerful somebodies, and somebody brave enough to let go of the old thing is going to get handed a way out. And a quick reminder that the average eclipse stays active for about 3.5 years, so everything might not happen all at once, but the eclipse will leave behind some trigger points. So as those trigger points are activated in the coming years, we'll see things really unfold. So how do you know how this eclipse is hitting you specifically? Look at your chart for anything sitting between 15 and 25 degrees of the fixed signs, which are Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. I might even go 10 degrees away, which would be 10 degrees of the fixed signs and 0 degrees of the mutable signs. So that would be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. So if you've got a planet or an angle in those zones, this eclipse is running right over it. And the house it lands in tells you which part of your life will be all shook up. I didn't want to drag y'all through all 12 houses on camera, so I built a free breakdown that walks through what this eclipse stirs up in every house of the chart. So you can find your own placement and read for your own situation. It's linked in the description, so go on and get it. All up in your actual chart, I still offer a few readings each month. That link is in the description too. And if you're not subscribed yet, I really don't know what you're doing with your life. Hit the button and come back when all of this starts coming true. The chickens think they can fly, and some of them are about to find out that they can't. So make sure you're not one of them. I'll catch you next time. Peace, homie.